Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Compassionate Side Hustle Strategy. This is Rochelle, as usual, and this is part 7 of my behind the scenes series. So this summer, I've given myself the freedom to go ahead and not plan for what I'm going to be talking about on the podcast because I didn't want it to go dormant, but I also didn't want to stretch myself too thin because I have a bunch of things that I'm going on behind the scenes and I want to share that with you. But I also don't want to overwhelm myself. So this is sort of the compromise between Rochelle, the face of the company, and Rochelle, the back end manager, who's like, whoa, this is way too many things. So I've decided that this is going to be the second to last episode of this series. I'm going to be doing another one that you'll have next week, which will be sort of like the close up from what I'm going to share with you today. And then I'm going to give myself 2 weeks off and then come back in August. And in August, it should be fun because I have a new offer that I'm actually going to tell you about today at the end of this episode that I would love for you to consider for your own business, especially if you find yourself aligned with the things that I'm talking about and you feel like you could use some time with someone like me to help you stay on track, stay focused, and start doing some work in your business that actually fills you up and doesn't like burn you out, I guess, because I know that a lot of the stuff that we do behind the scenes is not that glamorous, but at the same time, I don't think that it has to be such a drag, and I think that we can find a way that works for you. I'm going to share with you what I'm working on. I did want to share with you a little bit about how I'm using some of the AI tools that are out there right now. I'm not going to make this a full tutorial, obviously, because I think that would be better suited for my regular format where I can literally walk you through it and give you a full printout probably of prompts and things like that. But I did want to let you know that I am using AI tools, not in the way that other people are, and definitely not to, one of the things that I've noticed is that I'm pretty sure a lot of people on LinkedIn, because I've been dabbling in LinkedIn content recently, but I think that people are using AI to generate responses so that they can interact with people's posts. And I'm like, this literally looks robot generated. And I think that it literally is. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. So I want to share with you how I use it, how I use AI tools, and then I'm going to share with you what I'm working on, and then we'll see what happens. So I have been really intentional with how much I'm using AI. I think that it's really helpful. I think that we can use it as a tool to help us and to generate inspiration, but I really don't think that AI at the moment is capable of generating final product. So what I mean by that is that I'd never use AI to write something for me and then copy and paste it. I might copy and paste some of it, little pieces of it, but I'm always editing, always kind of double checking on my prompts and asking it to rework some sentences, give me ideas for a different way to say something. But I never, use it the way that other people do, where they're like, I generated a whole month's worth of captions using AI in 15 minutes. And even then, I think 15 minutes is actually pretty long for that claim. Basically, the way that I use it is that I let it help me come up with new ideas. And so I'll, for example, give it the transcript for one of my episodes, one of the regular ones that's like fully thought out and fully expressed and outlined. And I will give it the transcript and then ask it, based on this podcast, what would you say my ideal client is really struggling with? And so it's a nice way to just kind of get your own ideas reflected back to you. It's pretty good at summarizing. Sometimes it's a little weird, but sometimes it can be really good for, taking the transcript of my podcast and then saying, generate a 4-sentence SEO optimized summary with the call to action of, and then I specify exactly what kind of call to action I want it to have. One thing that I'm trying to get it to do, and by the way, I'm using ChatGPT by OpenAI. I am using the free version now. I did pay for a couple months of the premium one because I think that was when everyone was using it and it was slow at the time. And so I decided at the time to pay for it so that I could get like the faster generation of content and answers. But I found, because I didn't renew it, I found that I'm actually doing okay without the premium version. Plus, the more that I use it, the more I realize that I don't really need it as much as I thought. I think I just needed like a robot version of, like bouncing ideas off of each other kind of partner. And then once the novelty wore off, I was like, okay, I kind of know what I'm doing. So thanks for that. And plus, it's helpful when you've used it enough so that you can grab what you have, what it generates, and then just kind of like rework it on your own. So honestly, if you looked at my ChatGPT OpenAI profile, I have so many conversations in there. They're not organized in any way. It's just me, babbling to the robot and trying to come up with things. And once I have what I need, then I take it and then I put it in my own system, which makes a lot more sense. Like all of my projects and then like work board, the whiteboards and mind maps and stuff, I put it where it actually needs to be. But inside my OpenAI profile, it's a mess. It really is. And I don't mind because I'm not going to use it. So that's actually been helpful for doing quick tasks like generating little captions, little blurb that would go alongside the little snippets of videos and things like that I put into social media. It's decent at summarizing, although I feel like if you're not careful, and obviously I don't take what it generates and then just copy and paste it. Like I really have to work through it and make sure that it sounds like me and stop the bro marketer tone that it loves to make. Because I think that somewhere in their program, they think that SEO optimize means like bro marketer speak, which is so annoying. But, that's just how it works. And so I'm finding different ways for me to grab the content that it generates, but then edit it so that it feels like me. And then I've been mostly just reusing the stuff that I've written for my own content. So it's really just a brainstorming tool. I like the one way that I heard it described, which is it's basically autocorrect on steroids. So it's like, how in your Google Doc sometimes, or even in Gmail, it'll finish your sentence on, what it thinks that you're going to be saying. It's basically that, but in long form. And so it's like, oh, you're probably going to want me to say this sentence. Oh, you're probably going to want me to say all these other sentences after. And like, sometimes it's right on the money. And sometimes it's like, no, that's not where we're going. That's absolutely not the language that I want. So it's a lot of trial and error. And, I'm not a huge fan, but I will say that it's been helpful, especially on days where I can't words and I just need someone else to do it, but I don't necessarily need the time and patience and energy of a real human being. And so having a robot to do it is nice. And then the stuff that I'm working on, so my update for you on the workbook, it's finished. It got printed, and I think I shared that with you last time, but I ended up burning out a little bit on creating the blurbs, even with the help of like the AI robots. I think that I worked so hard on it that I kind of want to put it away for a little while, which is fine. And I have a feeling that I'm probably going to sit down and then just like really work through all of the assets that I need to make for it, meaning probably 5 to 6 posts that are promoting it, uploading those into my social media scheduler software, and then just being done with it. But I did not really make a lot of progress on that because I was just tired. And I figured it's a holiday week here in the United States, and I went ahead and gave myself some time off to not work on it. But I am pretty motivated to get that done and up and ready for people to buy, just so that I can say, okay, finished. And then also we're moving on to the next thing. So the next thing is actually the main thing. The workbook was for my own sake mostly. And I also kind of worry about that because I'm like, well, I made it for myself. And so that's going to be a little bit of a challenge to sell it because it's based on my own work and not specifically the needs of my ideal client. So I'm really going to have to do some wordsmithing there to make sure that it acknowledges the real benefits of the workbook. But the thing that I'm moving on to is this membership idea. So what's coming up in August is that I'm going to be offering a month-to-month membership. I haven't decided on prices. I know that I probably am going to do like a first full year is this much just to get people in the door. But the concept around it is that I want to help people with batching. Now, taking a step back, not thinking too much about like the outside version of it and like how beneficial batching is and all that stuff. Personally, for me, batching is a way for me to kind of baby step my ideal clients and my followers into the process that it is necessary for you to have before you outsource. So again, if you're not familiar with my work, I come from a virtual assistant / project manager, account manager background. And so I am very, very like aware and a little obsessed with the behind the scenes stuff that has to happen when you have like a program or you want to create an ebook or you want to create some kind of funnel. And a lot of people think that you can just like, oh, I'll just outsource it. Find me a marketing person and I'll outsource it to them or whatever and things like that. And unfortunately, I have been on the receiving end of, being an account manager. And then they say, we have to cut off our contract because I'm not making any money. I mean, like I did all the marketing stuff and made a new website and everything, but it just didn't work. And inside, I mean, like, it's just the nature of freelancing, right? I'm okay with people running out of money. Well, I'm not okay with it, but I'm used to people not necessarily wanting to have me on for like the entire year because it's just the nature of the job and who I tend to work with, which is solopreneurs kind of in the messy beginner middle. But sometimes, I've noticed that like when I was working with a client and they say that they invested in this and this and this, and I would be like, I know that that's not my arena, but like, please don't spend so much on, like a website, a brand new website that's custom written for you, because that's not where you really need to put your money. But anyway, I'm getting off track with that. What I'm trying to get to is that a lot of these business owners who are struggling with their investments not really working out and not bringing in the money and not actually doing what they had hoped the investment would do, they usually don't have very good systems in place beforehand. Like a lot of people say, and this is pretty common, right? Coaches say, outsource it, outsource before you're ready, hire smarter than you. And so it's unfortunate because there are actually a lot of people who are not that good at what they do. And it's very easy with the right copywriting and websites and all the glamour of how you sell your services online. It's easy to get tricked into hiring someone who can't actually do the right kind of work that you need done for your business right now. And so this is kind of I'm kind of gathering everyone back, taking a step back and saying, okay, before we whip out our wallets and do the Google searches and ask in 4 different Facebook groups, who do you recommend? Why don't we talk about what you're doing right now? Where is your time going? Where is your money going? Like, which apps are you using or which apps are you refusing to invest in because you don't want to pay for it? And let's talk about like what running your business actually feels like. And without getting too far into it, I will say that a lot of the problems have to do with efficiency. And so one way that you can kind of clean things up in the messy back end of your business is to start this habit of batching, doing things in clumps of time, in clumps of work, so that you're not spread out too thin and you're not burning yourself out, trying to thinking up social media ideas, thinking up who you can email who might be able to help you promote your next launch. Like, you shouldn't have to think of those things out there and just kind of come up with it because you're busy and life is hard right now. And, all of that stuff can be put together in a system so that you don't have to think about it when you don't have to think about it. And then when you're actually ready and you should be working on it, then it's ready to go. And you sit down, you run your timer, and then you get your stuff done. And the nice thing is that if you get in the habit of like batching things, sitting down to do very focused work on specific parts of your business, then I think that that paints a better picture for you as to when you're going to be ready to outsource it, because then you can see exactly what those little pieces did for you, how they're turning out, the quality of them, how much time it's taking you as a solopreneur to get all this stuff done on your own versus how long it might take someone who's actually very good at it and doesn't take nearly as long as you. So I'm basically wrapping all of those ideas up into a package, not a package, a membership, where essentially I'm going to be providing some kind of batching guide for the month on a specific thing that I think that most business owners, I mean, it's going to depend on who's actually in the membership, but I'm going to cater this to those types of businesses, right? And we're going to get together and work on the concept of batching just that type of thing. Now, obviously, each business is going to be different, and not every business is going to want to, not every business owner is going to want to focus on the exact same thing on that specific month, every month. But the idea is that it's there. The whole process is in there. You can press play and you can work through it, and you have resources and ideas so that you don't draw a blank. So that's the idea with the batching membership. It's coming together in my head. And literally after I edit this podcast episode, I'm going to be sitting down to put it into words and make it actually sound like a thing, if that makes sense. So that's the update. I hope that you found that interesting at least. I hope that maybe your curiosity is piqued and that you want to hear about it a little bit more in next week's episode. So I will see you next week on the final episode of this behind the scenes series. And honestly, if you've been following along this summer and listening to all of these episodes, and my it sounds like chaos to me on this end of it. Like I'm trying to make it make sense, but at the same time, without my usual planning and sequencing and prepping and all that stuff, it really feels like chaos. But maybe it's not, maybe it is. But if you have found some value in these, I would really love to hear from you. So DM me on Instagram at Rochelle Sanch, and I would love to hear from you. If these have been helpful for you, if you find them useful in any way, or if they're as chaotic as they seem, maybe. Anyway, I hope things are going well for you, just like they are for me in your own special chaotic way. And I'll see you next week. Thanks.